Hello, I'm back. All right, let me just change the privacy on my post because it's probably set to only me. Actually, no, it's set to friends, so that's pretty cool, but we need to be public. So let's edit our audience to be public to anyone on Facebook so that you guys can actually share it out. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hit share. I'm going to share it to my groups, although I've already used at everyone today. So yeah, I said I wasn't going to go live today, but I wanted to do a general Q&A. Wanted to just kind of go and have a little chit chat, not about like the topic. We wanted some back and forth dialogue. So let's do this. Um, what is the brawl that people are talking about? Okay, so while I share this out, I'll talk about it while I share this. Hold on. No one wants to help. Well, I am here, so make sure you post your questions. The ball is your court for help. No excuses. Oops. No one wants to help. Copy. That. I don't know if it will distribute it again, but I'm going to attempt to do that, everyone. Okay, so the brawl that everyone's talking about is the one from the riverboat on the dock. And this was in Alabama, and it was a 60-year-old worker who wanted a boat to be moved, and the people didn't want to, so he took it upon himself to move it, and he was in turn jumped um, by um, several other people, and then when he was jumped, whole lot of other folk that looked more like the dock worker jumped in, and it was an all-out brawl. People were getting hit with chairs, men, women, children. Like, it was just a mess. You can literally go and Google it at this point. I mean, you can Google it, you can look at it on YouTube, you can look at every video on TikTok. I mean, it's on like every other. If you wait after this video, like once it's over, you're on Facebook, it'll probably even show up. Like, you know how when you get done with the video, you see a bunch of other videos, it'll probably even come up then. Like, it's literally everywhere. You cannot throw a stone and not find out about what happened on August 5th, 2023. It is a date that is now a part of history. All right, so I am just sharing this out. Share via group. Now, I will say that I will be able to talk you guys through anything design wise, but as you can see, it's a small one. So I won't be able to share my screen. Give me one moment. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so to get you guys, if I can get you guys to go ahead, give the video a thumbs up, share it out, tag a friend. And we're gonna go and I wonder if you can only do the add frames and add highlights from a phone, because it's not coming up on my computer. So it might be a phone feature. But anywho, hello everyone. I am Shakia, the professor of HS Inc. 365. We are the home of the Honestly Speaking brand of products, which was used to make this shirt that I have on. Y'all see the nice, vibrant colors. This was done in 30 seconds. So if you don't know, with our paper, you can submit as low as 365 degrees, as fast as 30 seconds. The blacks be blacking because our black ink is absolutely phenomenal. It is what they say, chef kiss. We print at plain paper settings, so you don't need a lot of ink and you're still going to get amazing colors, especially on fabrics. So definitely go to our website and check that out. We also are the home of 365 Creative Academy, where I help you to unlock your creativity in a wide variety of trainings, everything from silhouette studio to sublimation. We just had our foam board class. I've done ones for like designing for event planning banners. And then we also have our business classes as well. So a wide variety of trainings to help you at whatever stage you are at. If you are just learning the creative side of things and not quite ready for business, we can still show you how to do that efficiently and with a lot of like, I was just watching Hallmark, je ne sais quoi, a lot of just jaw-dropping and like wild type designs, and just my approach to designing and how I teach a design. You'll really come up with some really great designs. I help you to unlock your creativity so you can learn to create a variety of things, and then once you're ready for business, we go through everything from the beginning and choosing the name, choosing your branding, and give you suggestions about logos and marketing, taking orders when you're ready to do a website, pricing. We have classes for it all, and they all right now are buy one get one 50% off because it is HS Inc. month. All right. We have some other things kind of in the works coming up as well, but definitely check out our website. All right. So I do these live videos, and today I'm live from home. I'm not in my office. I'm on my phone. So I don't have the regular camera. I don't have the lights that give me a headache. So it's a little bit different. This is kind of a nod to the old school. And I used to do stuff from here at the house. I used to kind of just sit back and just kind of have a conversation with you guys. And that's really the vibe that I want today, but I want it to be helpful. I want it to be informative. I see all too often, people make comments, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, just saying that, oh, no one wants to help. Why are people gatekeeping? And it's not that they are. Like, I'm not the only person. I know of a few people that go and they do live content and they're sharing information, or they'll say, hey, do you have any questions? And you guys are like, y'all act like y'all are at the Renaissance tour and Beyonce said, everybody go mute. Because you guys get really, really quiet when people are offering up the help to you for free 99. So I like to do these sessions. I know a whole lot about a whole lot, and there are things that I don't know. But the things that I do know, I do try my best to share where I can and at least get you in the right direction. Now, detailed things and just taking like a really long time, for like things that will take a really long time to explain what needs to be broken up. Today, that's where our classes come in at. And like I said, right now we have a great deal going on our classes. So if you I was more trying to thought. Oh, so if you have questions, when someone comes on who's saying, hey, I'm here to help, where do you need help at? Because I know a lot of different things, and some things might be way past where you're at. Or I might go and I might talk about something and it can intimidate you because you're not at that level, whether it's design, if it comes to business or anything like that. So take the time when you have someone like myself online. I'm not on here necessarily pitching anything, and it's a segue to an offer. I'll let y'all know at the top. This is what we sell. This is what we have going on. So the questions now are about you, and it's about the help. And I think I've done a pretty good job of showing that I'm very genuine in wanting to help you guys. So give this video a thumbs up. That's the only thing I ask for all of this free information and free help that I'm going to provide. The only thing that I ask is that you at least share it out. If you haven't, you have people that can benefit from this. I'm pretty sure you guys have met other crafty friends. So you don't have to share it out on your page if you don't want to. But if you just hit the share button, copy the link, send it in a message, a Facebook message, send it in a text and say, hey, the professor's on, she's great, she can help you. So you don't have to put it on your public platform. If you have a group that has creatives and crafters and, you create a group that, it's a community to help those who want to start a business, this is the perfect video to share with them, okay? So yeah, this is the perfect video to share out, and let's just get some folk in. And when you guys ask questions, there's probably somebody sitting in the background. I actually get a lot of people that say, well, I do be watching, I just be in the background, I don't say much. I don't know if they are where they need to be at in their journey, whether it's just creatively or for business. I don't know if they're where they're at, but they choose to stay in the background and just kind of just get the information that comes forth by people's questions. So if that's you, I I get it, I understand. But the more that you guys ask, the more that you can learn, others can learn as well. Okay. So let's get into it. All right. So, hello. Incredible evening. Hey, Pat, thank you for joining me again. Hello. Hey. Hola, hey, period. Okay. Hello, incredible evening, Miss Sonia. All right, so got a question on the floor already. Do you touch bases regarding the Roland BN20A as well? I need help with better marketing and a better way to set up my website. So I am someone who is a firm believer in that business is business. Marketing is marketing. Understanding your target audience is your target audience. That there is nothing special just because it's like with the Roland BN20. So you have to think about the things that you want to make with your eco-solvent printer. So I have done videos on that, but as far as with branding, marketing, setting up a website, that would not be specific to Roland. So if you're ever looking at our classes and you feel like, oh, well, this is for sublimation or this is for this, that's not the case. My class on Shopify and how to set up your Shopify, that's for anyone. Our creative business program, that's for anyone really that's in business. It's nothing specific to that. Now, as far as the Roland BN20, the thing that I will say is be careful with how you market for that, because if you have it, you know that it is definitely not a speed demon. It is actually one of the best eco-solvent printers out there because of how it prints. However, you are very limited in the materials, because a lot of the other machines, they have the big pinch rollers and you can sometimes do thicker materials in it. Whereas with all of the BN series, they have media clamps on the end. So your media cannot be to where you're going to make that media clamp lift up. So you have to be very mindful of that. So you are a little bit limited in which material you can use. Most people, though, that I find in this creative space and who kind of come across my content, they're looking to use it for HTV and some sort of adhesive vinyl. So that works out perfectly, right? But the print speed on it is very slow. Unlike other printers that print in both directions, which is called bidirectional, a Roland is only omnidirectional, which means it only drops ink out when it goes from its home position, which is, if you're looking at it, it's going to be to the right. And then as it goes this way to the left, it's the only time it's dropping out ink. And then it goes back. And it's going to do that, so it takes a really long time. Even if your design is really small and only in one corner, it will take the same amount of time as if it went across the entire thing. So I just recently did a job and it was 36 stickers on it because I try to limit how long it prints because sometimes it can get kind of funky and you'll end up with ink drops and you can end up messing up a whole print job. So I try not to do super long runs. So I broke that job up into two parts, and it was 36 stickers on each one. And that they were about 4 inches in width. And by the time, they were arranged, I could fit 4 across. It was a little under like 18 inches. So to print out those 36 decals or stickers was 1 hour. 54 minutes, 54, 56. I'll tell you exactly how long it takes because I actually have my laptop here so I can see it. So this, so it was 40 inches long. I only use the standard. I don't use draft. I cannot stand the way that it looks. Everyone has different standards. So if I'm doing something just to kind of test print it and see, I will use the draft, but I prefer standard. So that was 54 minutes, and that is just to print it out. And then with the way that it cuts, and this is not just a simple circle or a simple square, it's a full-on contour. It took about 30 minutes or so. So we're talking an hour and a half just for 30 decals or 30 stickers. So for the full order of 72, that was 3 hours. So if you have like several jobs, or like, let's say we had a bunch of them similar to this. If you're trying to work only, let's say, an 8-hour day, we're going to give it an extra hour and say a 9-hour day, you're only able to do 3 jobs. And for decals and for it to be this size, it's not this huge profit margin. So if you're going to market to those who want these like decals like this and that they're pretty decent size and not like really small ones, then you have to understand that you're not going to make a lot of money unless you're letting it print like 12, like you're going like pretty much the entire day and you're letting it run. But I don't know what else you're doing. If you have a 9 to 5, if you have children, if you have a significant other, if you have a social life, I don't know how long you can let your machine run every single day. So you have to think about, that part of it because it prints slow and it cuts slow. So that's my only thing is know who your market is. And if you're just trying to use it to get your foot in the door and try to get your feet wet, don't take on jobs that it really can't handle. Maybe, if you are going to tell me that you can do certain things, find you a local printer that you can outsource to. Your customers will be none the wiser. Just kind of add on a little bit. You're not doing the work. Just add on a little bit for, basically facilitating the order. But you can build up your clientele for the more robust orders to be able to justify getting a larger machine that's more efficient. So hopefully that helped. All right. You don't have to wait until one question is finished before you ask your question. Guys, don't just sit in the background. Or if I can see names here, I wish I can see everyone that was watching, because you better not be someone that says, oh, no one wants to help, because again, you have someone that's willing to help. But if you sit in the background, if you feel like your business is not where it needs to be, your designs are not where it needs to be, your knowledge of silhouette is not where it needs to be, anything like that is not where it needs to be, you have no one to blame but yourself, because you have someone who is offering up their expertise to you for free. So we need to start to look in the mirror at ourselves while we are not reaching our goals, and whether or not you are holding yourself back. You definitely give more than you get from others, but God continues to bless you. Oh, Lord, I receive that He will continue to bless. It gets hard. I will, we did fairly okay. Were numbers like our preferred financial numbers met. Summer is always a little bit harder. I think that it's partly because extra funds might be going towards their kids not, being home for the summer. Your light bill is higher in the summer. You have a higher food cost in the summer if you have children. A lot of teachers who don't work. I have a lot of my audience are teachers who want to either supplement their income or want to learn how to be able to do things like for their classrooms and stuff like that. So summer is always a little bit slower. So, as we're going into the fall, and pray that our business continues to be blessed. Are you going to post more silhouette challenges in the group? So again, that came from someone asking that question. And so I typed it out. I don't know what all you guys need. And that style requires like everything was within the software. I would like to be able to, I've done it. I've tried to do it before, but I do those based off of the questions that you guys ask. The way that was outlined, it has to be something that is really beginner. Some of the things that people have requested, I'm like, that's not beginner. I really can't really do that as like a design challenge because it requires more knowledge. And it's like way more steps. But once people make suggestions and they kind of see things they want to learn how to do, I definitely can do more of those. But you guys have to suggest what you want to see. And then I create the outline for it. Thank you for participating, though. I'm glad that you found that fun. So since we are quiet, that means that everyone is where they need to be. You are meeting and exceeding your goals. You have social media figured out. You have your branding and marketing figured out. You have your target audience figured out. You have your pricing figured out. You have that means you have everything about your business figured out. You understand how structures work. You understand your taxes. You understand everything about your business. You understand fully how to use Silhouette Studio, how to use Photoshop. You have no design questions. You have absolutely no questions whatsoever because everything is A-okay and you got it all handled. Is that what it is? That means I don't need to do these anymore. I've done my job for the past 9 years, almost 10 years now. So I've done my job for the past, almost 9 years. So I've done my job for the past 8, 9 years, and I can retire doing live help videos. Is that what you guys are telling me? I don't have to do these anymore, correct? Let me know now. I don't know where to start asking yet. What is it you're doing? Like what? So you're saying, okay, and people always say that. I don't know where to start asking. What is it that you're doing? When you sat down at your computer, what have you thought about, wondered about? What has been frustrating for you? What do you consider bigger level design tasks? For that particular model where I type it out. So if it was something that required like multiple tracing, if it was something that required other images to come in and your your pieces had to be set up a certain way, if it had to be set up to a certain size, If it's something like trying to add different layers to things and backgrounds and crop, those really wouldn't work for how I laid out my design challenge. Well, see, I'm not sure if you saw it, Stanley, because I'm not sure if you follow me on Facebook as well, but I did a design challenge and it was all work. So I did no video with it until like the next day or 2 days later. So the first one that I posted, it was all text and it outlined the steps. I go no more than like 15, 20, like it was like 10, 12 to 15 steps somewhere in there, probably even less than, probably was less than 10 steps. So if it's something that's going to be like, there's 15, 20, 30 different steps, that definitely wouldn't work for how we did that particular one. I mean, you got to have your fix, but I mean, then you're just sitting here looking at me like, because no, like it becomes pointless. And if something is not valuable, even in your business, you have to learn and know when it's time to let it go. So if I had to stop doing the Q&As, then I have them, because there's no place for it. So it becomes time that can be utilized elsewhere. Like I could be working on designs. I could be on my, working on revamping my own website. I can be working on an ebook. If this isn't a good use of time because people are just going to sit here and stare at me, then I'll stop doing them because they become a waste of time. Whether someone needs their fix or not, if no one is engaging, and the purpose of this is for me to help. I cannot help if there are no questions present. So therefore, these are no longer needed if the current audience that I have. I would love to be able to reach more people who may have questions, because I've been in rooms and been on situations where the questions, I mean, it's hard to keep up with them. I don't know what it is about my audience. I don't know if I scare y'all into this, y'all seem like y'all don't vibe with your girl. So if it's the current audience that I have now are not going to be engaging, then it's really no purpose in me doing this, and I have to be okay with not doing them. Okay, so Professor, I just completed a 100 t-shirt order. First, woohoo, 100 shirts is big. With 3 different colors with HTV. It was very daunting. 100 shirts, 3 colors of HTV. I personally would never have done that. I'm going to do, like, it would have been screen print transfers for me like 2 years ago. Now DTF is on the rise. I think even with 100, I would personally not do DTF unless it's one of the bigger companies that do DTF and they give it to you in these sheets. But 100 shirts, I personally would never do DTF as a gang sheet, because then that creates more work with trying to cut them down and this, that, and the third. Like, I'd rather it already be cut down for me. But I applaud you. 100 shirts, 3 different colors, that's a lot of weeding. That's a minimum of 4 presses per shirt. So I applaud you. But I know I could never. Transferring fonts is frustrating sometimes to me in understanding which font to use and when. Transforming. I don't know why I said the transferring. So transforming fonts. So by transforming, you mean that you have a standard font and you want to be able to make changes to it when it comes to like moving your edit points or adding things to it and welded and interlocking. These are all individual skills. So you cannot look at it as learning fonts as one big whole thing. You have to hone in on a certain technique and work on that. If it's learning how to add shadows, add highlights, give it a wet look, these are all different things. And you, as I always say, you cannot wait until you have an order. You have to go out and seek with our text effects, we go through a lot of different text effects with that. And you have to take it piece by piece by piece, practice each technique, and then it'll come to you. In my graphic designing, my foundations of designing, we had a whole day that was talking about that, like looking at fonts and how they pair together, looking at there are certain styles. So it's not just about going to a website and finding fonts. You have to study styles. If someone came to you and they were having a Western theme event, and they wanted something that was, it was like words and stuff to it, you have to know what fits that genre, like fits like that category. You can't go and put like some whimsical, like playful font, and we're talking rustic and rugged and Western and, you know, it's like the spurs, and we're thinking leather and things like it's, you have to understand, um, you have to understand like the styles of them, and that's something in of itself. You have to study that when you go and you're looking at like anything that's like um big in that, and like let's look at the businesses and like the styles of fonts that they use for it. If you just do a search for Western, if you do a search for circus theme, the type of fonts that they use, and then once you understand the style, you'll then go to your, wherever you get your fonts from. Creative Fabrica is great for it, and you're going to look for those fonts. There aren't too many, like, I mean, it can take a lot of work. Even if it was a computer program that did it, your software doesn't know that you wanted this to be for Western or modern or futuristic and things like that. You're going to have to go in and actually categorize them. That takes work. I find all too often people want it to just kind of be a snap of the fingers and it's done for you. You're going to have to do work. You may have to create a list and say, hey, for my classic fonts, my wedding fonts are this. Limit your fonts. Stop thinking that if you download 30,000 fonts, it's going to make your design life easier. If you think about who your audience is, man, everything goes back to something, right? If you are someone who does a lot of kid designs, I don't want to do any adult shirts. I only want to do kid apparel, kid tumblers, puzzles, things like that. I only want to do things for kids. Why in the heck would you be looking at something that's more like masculine, that's not going to attract, it's not going to be appealing to children? Your library of fonts should be filled with things that would be great for kid designs, at least on your main computer. But when you don't know who you serve, you don't know what type of designs you're trying to like create, you have no real direction, no real focus. This is why you guys struggle when it comes to fonts. You have to break it down. Even if you want to do kids, you want to do weddings, you want to do this, you want to do that, focus on one. Pick one of those styles, one of those themes, and you find fonts. You are intentional about the fonts that you select, and understand, like, don't just download them just to download them. Think about how you would use them and write it down. I can't stress it enough, having a notebook and writing it down. The older we get, I don't have anyone on my platform that's like super young that kind of come to me when they're starting off. They're in high school, you know, in their 20s. Most of my audience, according to my analytics, you guys are older. Your memory is not going to be that great, like, you know, now. So you have to write things down. I did some research to see if DTF transfers would have been cheaper, but the 3-color transfers seem to be more expensive than HTV. So with DTF, there is no different price point as far as color. You can have an infinite number of colors when it comes to DTF because it is printed. Now, screen print transfers is going to be different. Now, it might be that the transfers may cost you more, but you know what you also did, and especially if you don't if you had a large format cutter and you were able to put a 24-inch, a 50-inch roll of vinyl on this cutter and be able to, it's almost say 50, that's more say HTV. So like, let's say you're able to put a 20-inch, 15-inch roll of vinyl, and it's going to just cut it, and it was going to cut all 100, like you had the roll on there and it's going to cut the 100. You're going to pull that out, you're going to put the next one in. But if you had a small craft cutter and you're having to do sheets, even if you got a roll, you have to cut that down. It's not about the cost of the transfer. If you would have ordered those transfers, you wouldn't have had to worry about cutting anything. You wouldn't have had to worry about weeding anything and then piecing them together. So the amount of time that it took you to do 100 shirts, you could have been doing things for marketing, working on your website, working on other orders to make you money. When those transfers came in, on average, we're talking anywhere from 7 to 12 seconds to fully get that adhered to your shirt, and it will be one press versus 4. So we have to learn to not just look at the cost of an actual transfer compared to buying the vinyl. How much time do you have? And even if some people will say, oh, well, I don't have any orders going on, like this is the only order I had, so I wanted to save more money. But do you know that time that it took to do that, there were so many other valuable things that you could have done for your business? DTF or screen print transfers. Preferably screen print transfers or DTF transfers from a company that will break them up for you. Gang sheets are cool, but me personally, some people love gang sheets and they will deal with that and cutting them down. That to me still takes up time. I ain't got time for it. And most times when it comes to DTF, people try and cram in as many as possible. No, I'd rather it be broken up and you're going to give me sheets and I can literally go pull, put it down, press, boom, press, move it on to the next shirt. So from like 613 Originals, Color Max from Stalls, FM Expressions has the DTF prints where they'll give them to you in sheets. I believe TKO Sales, they have like a hybrid one where it's done through a printer, but they put screen print ink on the back. Any of those where you're going to get individual sheets are great for large orders. Can you teach us how to add solid backgrounds to images? Those are needed. So I'm not sure what you mean by add solid backgrounds, because it doesn't matter if you're using Word, Silhouette Studio, Cricut Design Space, Canva, Photoshop, Illustrator, Affinity. So what you're saying, adding a solid, how to add solid backgrounds to an image. So okay. Is it that you want to create a design? Let's say you have a cutout, like you go and I took a picture like this, right? You want to remove the background and you want to replace the background behind me. You're just going to bring in a JPEG, put it on there, and then you're going to put the picture on top. Now, if you want it to look realistic, now you have to take the time to learn design techniques such as shadows. Where's your light source coming from to know where that shadow would be to where it doesn't look like it's just static. You have to understand or learn how to choose the right photos. If it's a picture of me, it makes no sense to put a cartoonish type background because we're going to be able to tell that that just does not work. Now, I might be able to do like a solid color background and then it's again shadows, or you might want to put. I'm not big on splatters and splashes that just are random and make no sense. I'm not big on those. My backgrounds have to make sense. One of the ways that you end up doing this also is getting into, like, I can give you suggestions here, right? So like I said, I cannot show you anything physically because I don't have it set up to my computer to go there. But in my classes, Foundations of Designing, we've gone through this. The Designing Crash course, we went through this. So those are things that I highly recommend that you invest in and you actually take the time to maybe even just watch it through. Doesn't matter how we waste time watching shows that cannot help you. Don't get me wrong. I know we like to binge watch. We like our TV shows. We like entertainment. But if your main focus right now is building your business, you may have to take a pause on all of the shows. Hey, DVR exists for a reason. Streaming exists for a reason. And when you have some free time, whatever, or like maybe you're putting something together while once you've done this design and you pressing shirts, maybe that's when you binge watch your shows. But if you're trying to learn to design, you need to invest not just money in getting the classes, you need to invest time to actually watch the classes, watch it through, take some notes. Maybe then you guys will have some questions if you are actually studying the industry that you want to be in. But that's something that's so open-ended because I don't really know what you mean as far as add a solid background to images. Is it that you want to like replace this, or I can leave this background here, but I can use Photoshop and I can make it look like this is a graffiti wall behind me. I can change the color. I can change the color of the couch. It's like, what exactly is that? So that can mean so many different things. This is why being on Facebook, even if you have no desire to interact with others, it's easier to share pictures on Facebook. Create a Facebook account under a crazy name just so that you can get in these Facebook groups and post the questions, post pictures, post an example of what it is you're talking about. Because I'll tell you right now, I don't answer inboxes like that. Some people think, oh, well, no, I don't want to join. I'm going to email her. You want my time, you're going to pay for my time. But I help freely in the Facebook group because it can help others. Okay, so I'm purchasing supplies and material. I have several machines, with one needing to be paired with computer to start learning the software. Which machines and are you working on right now? Which screen print company do you recommend? I have personally used 613 Originals, FM Expressions, and Stahl's Transfer Express. 613 Originals, FM Expressions, Stahl's Transfer Express are ones that I have personally used, love them. Ones that I know are great companies, not just because an influencer said it, but I saw them like at impressions. I have researched their company. And they're local to me. So you have TKO Sales, that is a phenomenal company. You have Coleman, also really great company, quality, Plastisol inks, and Supercolor. So those are ones where either an influencer or several people have recommended them, but just me looking into their company, I know that they are great as well. There are a few others, and you can, again, do research, order samples. If it's something for you, maybe not for an order, do a couple like single color designs. Yes, there's going to be at least like a 25, 30 minimum, especially with like the single colors, but it's well worth it. That's how I found the companies that I end up using. I ordered their sample packs, and I ordered sample prints, like so I can see the design, reading over the requirements that, like spaces in between had to, like if you really want it to be defined, it had to be at least 1 point size. Now it goes into graphic design, knowing what the heck does 1 point size mean. So all of your education comes together to help you go to the next level and to be able to add these things onto your offerings. I have a problem with combining images and saving it as a PNG. You have to give me a little bit more than that. What problem are you having? Is it simply not saving? Is your program shutting down? Is it still have a white background? What program are you using? Are you talking about Canva? Are you talking about Silhouette Studio? Are you talking about Photoshop? Are you talking about Illustrator? So I need a little bit more information than that. I personally enjoy lives where someone is doing something, a project, and generally gets people asking questions, but that's just me. A question off the top of my head doesn't usually happen. Well, you also said that for you, you are more a crafter, so you want to see projects. I used to do that back in the day. I don't really do those now. Even when I've done that, they really don't lead to a lot of questions. Unfortunately, this may not be the platform if you're looking for that. I only do projects. I no longer buy stuff just to freaking buy it. I don't do a lot of customs now because I focus on building our brand as far as the ink and the paper. So if I'm doing something that requires like sublimation, but with our paper, not too many videos I can do because 365, 30 seconds, boom. Like the other part that comes in is the designing part of it. And I found that my regular videos, most people don't like it. You may enjoy kind of like watching these longer videos, but my analytics tells me that people really don't like watching the longer videos, or their click-through rate is like, it's crazy because they'll like fast forward through some stuff. But when it's a paid class, people tend to pay attention a little bit more. They tend to be more attentive and go back and watch it. So at this point, I don't do a lot of projects unless it's something where I am physically working on an order or something like that. And I'll just kind of, do a watch me work type situation. But unfortunately, it won't be a lot of just projects on my platforms anymore, because I don't just make content as a crafter. And I feel like a lot of the ones that do it, they are creating that content. They will come up with something to do it just for content's sake. Our revenue is not built off of content's sake. We actually teach, sell products, and that's where majority of our content comes from. And I'm not looking to be an influencer that's reviewing. A lot of times people will do this content because, hey, I want to show this, I want to review it, then click on my link and you go buy it. I don't really do a lot of affiliate marketing anymore. My issue is I don't have any questions. I just don't practice what you preach and practice in designing when I don't have any orders. So my mind stays blank. Well, we got to get back into practicing more. Incredible evening. You got to save money or time. You cannot do both. I always rather save time because my time is much more valuable to work on something else with the same time as doing transfers. Yes. What about summation for large orders? I had a tough time finding quality 100% polyester t-shirts. So it doesn't matter really what company, like what marketplace that you get them from. When I say that, or what company, or what online site. I am one where I have certain shirts that I like. It may not be the shirts you like. I am not let me do the cotton-like shirts. I can't give you a lot of recommendations for these shirts that are cotton-like that you can buy in bulk. I am one where I like the semi-gloss. Like, so this shirt that I have on, colors, absolutely amazing. I love the way the colors are on the shirts that have a little bit more gloss to them. Now, I will say these kind of stain a little bit more than others, but I am a sports tech and Team 365 kind of gal. Shawnee D actually put me on to, is it Circle? No, that's not the one that was sent to me. Which one is my gray one in? Is it Cool something? She put me on to them. I like the gray shirts when it came to that. I think the only ones that I have that are like kind of like the cotton ones is because like the kid shirts, like toddler shirts, would be I've used Vapor, and well, pretty much my main one now is like pretty much Vapor. Now there are ones like jerseys. There's the Gildan ones. Some people say that they're too thin. I don't know what quality you want. I can only recommend what we use for 365, HS Ink 365 prints. We use the brand Sports Tech, Team 365, and Vapor for our kids shirts. And there's a lot of places that sell it. Sometimes we have to get our shirts from different places because they might be out of the size that we need. I have my sales and use certificate, so I'm able to go to actual wholesale places that will only allow you to do business if you are showing that you are a business and you're going to resell it. If not, if you don't have that and you're kind of a crafter who does this on the side, you're not really set up, really as a business, you're not paying your sales tax every month or every quarter, you're not set up for that, then that's when you have to kind of deal with the all-day shirts, the Jiffy shirts, the bargain shirts. They have they have decent prices compared to going into a retail store, but you're not getting the prices of those who are established businesses, and you can actually provide the documentation to these companies that you are an established business and that you are actually set up for resale. Yes. So such as your football field, like simple, but you took 20 different big stack to create the, well, so no, that one was just kind of one. And then, but there are times where there's a lot of different ones. Actually, no, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the poster one. And yeah, that was several different things stacked on top of each other. My design classes definitely help. That particular one we did as kind of a watch me work, or like a bonus video. So again, you get in my classes, you get access, and there is no set time because it's not a class, but I often do videos where you can go back and you can watch them and it's showing my design process. I have the Cameo Portrait 3. So it's not a Cameo Portrait 3. So you have a Silhouette Portrait 3. It's also important to make sure that you guys are using the right terminology, because if you're looking for videos for something and you kind of put in terms, you're going to be limited on the videos that you can find because you're saying it incorrectly. So Silhouette is the company. Cameo is a machine. It's a 12-inch, a 15-inch, and a 24-inch. The Portrait is the smaller one. So you have a Silhouette Portrait 3. Needs pairing to start working with Silhouette Studio and Cricut Joy to work with Design Space. Started trying the Joy, never got it to cut. We'll try the Portrait 3 this week. So the good thing about it, just to learn to cut, all you have to do is plug it in. You're going to go and then make sure you have Silhouette Studio. You're going to go to Silhouette America's website. You're going to download the software. You're going to, I think the 3 allows for Bluetooth, if I'm not mistaken, but even if it doesn't, it comes with the cord. You're going to plug that in. You're going to load your material. You're going to cut a square. You're going to cut a circle. You're going to type out your name. If it's a script font, you're going to weld your name and you're going to cut that out. If it's on adhesive vinyl, if it's on HTV, you're going to flip it in the program and you're going to cut that out. That's where you start at. Don't try and start on something really big. Get used and see how it cuts, how to adjust the blade. Take the time to learn the machine and how to load it, where to load it at. Be okay with the mistakes that will happen. Be okay with it not cutting properly the first time, because you are learning. Babies that learn to walk fall and hit their butts or fall face first a bunch of times before they find their footing and their grounding and they actually learn to walk or crawl even, and then walk. I'm in your Facebook group, so I will begin to post more pictures and ask more questions. I'm also in the middle of learning the basics of Silhouette Studio in the 30 days. When I conclude it, I will be investing in your foundations of designing. I appreciate it. Don't wait too long. So a lot of people will always say that, oh, when I conclude it, but you're not really investing time. It's 30 days. So if I go and I look at when you purchased that, if it was more than 30 days ago, that means that you really aren't putting any emphasis. Like you are not making it a priority to learn it. It's really about 24 days, really. Like it's of like actual instruction. If you've been using for a while, you might be able to skip day 1 through 3 because it's about like how it's set up, but I don't recommend it because my shortcuts and stuff like that and my recommendations for setting up really great. But we're talking 24 days. So if you didn't purchase it within this month, then you are not prioritizing actually learning it so that you can move on. You are now, okay, so here's the part, here's the issue for me. Don't take it the wrong way. You can't ask me questions like, how do I add solid backgrounds? Because that means you're not even ready for that, because you have not prioritized learning it. So if I told you to add the background, you had to bring it in, send it to the back, make a box, crop it, or even if your question really was to distress the edges. And so I'm telling you, you need to go find this image. It has to be a certain type of image, bring it in, you're gonna do a trace on it, then you're gonna need to like release compound path on that, or you're going to need to invert the colors, do a trace on it, move it out of the way, put it over your image, crop it out, then send it to back. So I'm gonna give you all of these different instructions and it's going to go over your head. And for some, they get discouraged because they're like, oh, heck no, I have no idea what the hell she's talking about. She might as well be talking Greek to me, talking, some other foreign language to me, because you are not prioritizing learning it. It is 30 days, really 24 days to get the meat and potatoes. And then we spent the remainder of the time actually setting up designs. You may not even need to get, depending on how you learn, you may not even need the foundations of designing because we go over designing, but you got to get there first. You have to prioritize actually working the software. Get in the group, meet people, a network with people. Get you a buddy. Like, hey, let's do this together. We do it when we want to work out. We do it when we want to. We do want to work out. When we want to learn, want to eat healthy, eat better. You're going to get you somebody you're going to partner up, and you're going to have an accountability partner. If you don't want to do it by yourself, y'all hop on your own Zoom, and then you can share screen, let that sucker play, and then y'all work through it together. But you got to prioritize learning it. Okay, 32 degrees. I knew it was something cool. What was this? What are something that said cool? But 32 degrees, yes. And see, look, Dana said the same thing, 32 degrees. Core 365 is the same as Team 365. So it's the same company. Okay, I'm not sure how you felt that is being disrespectful. You said to me, you prefer projects. All I did was explain that in where I am at now, that's not what I pretty much do right now. So you may have either I have outgrown you or you have outgrown me. My content is going to continue to move. I know the audience that I want to attract. And it's not me sitting around doing a bunch of projects, just going and doing the same thing over and over again, as far as like showing HTV shirts or showing how to press something. So right now, I see a need for a lot of people needing to know about the business side, knowing a lot of the technical things. So I'm not sure how you saw that as disrespect. The same way with before, where I said my platform, when I first started, I was a stay-at-home mom. I was doing crafts. I was just sharing because truth of the matter is I was lonely in this house. I needed the adult interaction. As my business has grown, I now see the need for those who want to turn into a business. So like I said, I'm not a crafter. A regular crafter who doesn't want to elevate for the standards and quality for business, I may not be the platform for them. And that is okay. If you felt disrespected in that, I cannot control your feelings. Those are your feelings. I don't own your feelings, and that's how you feel. But what you stated, what you are looking for to be able to ask questions, I simply said, I will not be doing that on a regular on this platform. And if that is what you need to be able to learn and to be able to generate questions, this may not be the platform for you. And I am okay with that. And you should be okay with that. I have students that have said, I know I've learned what I need to know from Silhouette Studio. Because I wasn't teaching Photoshop, they moved on to someone else, and I'm okay with that. There are so many people that say, I no longer do sublimation. It was too much for me. So I kind of enjoy your content, but when I went to a lot of sublimation because we had a product that we had to promote, they did not they could not take in my content, because before I was doing a lot of paper crafting. I was doing things with a lot of adhesive vinyl and HTV vinyl. As my business changed, my content changed, and I was okay with them not resonating with my content. And that's my only point. You have to learn the software in order to get into the nitty-gritty of designing. That's with any software. Very much so true. I said what I like, since you were saying that people didn't ask questions. I didn't say and I never said, oh my, Cheryl, I'm not about to get that with you on this platform. You took it how you wanted to take it, and that is your feeling. I don't have any control of your feelings. However you receive that, that is on you. But that's not how I said it, not how I meant it, but that's on you. I'm not about to get into that. All right? So thank you for the correction. I appreciate you. I'm truly not learning. I have the Cameo 4 Pro. Cameo 3. Whoa, what? Wait, you have the Pro. You have a 12-inch Cameo. You have the Portrait, the Curio, the Cricut Maker, the Air 2. Okay, wait, Vanessa, come on. What do we get all these machines for? Like, be honest. Because a lot of these are the same machines. So when you purchase them, what did you think that you were using? Like, were you intentional in that purchase, saying, I need this machine for X, Y, and Z? So now for most of these, so for the Pro and the Portrait 3, they require the same software. So you have to be using at least 4.4, there's a certain 4.4 or 4.5. I work from 4.3.370. 4.4, 4.5 can be a little bit glitchy, especially if you don't have the right type of computer. So, but with those two, I can tell you for sure, the Pro, which I'm not a big advocate for, I will tell you, I don't do a lot of teaching on the Pro specifically, because I don't have one. I don't plan to purchase one. To be honest, they couldn't even send me one. I would still not do content on it unless they made some serious changes. Like, that's just me being 1000% honest. And just when it was made, me knowing cutting machines, I saw the flaws in it. As soon as it hit the market, I saw the flaws. And everyone always says the stuff. I've never touched this machine, never physically, like, I mean, I've seen it in different places, but as far as me using it, and everything that I said when it comes to that machine, those who have it, that's their gripe. I know machines, so I knew the issues it would have from jump. But you have to have version 4.4 or 4.5 for those two machines. But that version 4.4, 4.5 will control all of the Cameo machines. Every Cameo machine, every cutting machine, the Curio, the Cameo, and the Portrait can be controlled from Silhouette Studio. You can design for the Mint in Silhouette Studio and open up a Silhouette file, but the Mint has its own software to be able to create the stamps. Well, you didn't say you have a Mint, just for anyone. And then the Alpha has its own because of how it has to create the layers. But all of those machines will work from Silhouette Studio, and it's a matter of either plugging it in or setting up your Wi-Fi. But the most important part is going to be learning the software and how to set it up, knowing what you can cut. So if you just have like a PNG of something, a JPEG of something, you can't just send that to cut. You're just going to get a box. So it's knowing that you have to trace and detach if it's a solid color, or like something that's easy to remove, whether it's transparent or white or like black sometimes, or just any solid color. You have to do like a trace and crop or trace and detach, and you can do a print and cut with it. If you wanted to cut the individual pieces, you would have to do like a regular trace and break it up and all that kind of good jazz. So it's important to learn the software. When it comes, my greatest advice for those who are wanting to kind of learn both, instead of trying to create your own design, Silhouette has a multitude of designs that you in their design store. Get a little small credit package, get you a couple things from there. I was a paper crafter when I first started this, so I went in, I got a lot of like 3D things, like the letters. I liked my niece was born. It's like when she got to the age of being able to play, I purchased the actually I had them from the moment my sister was pregnant. I knew we were gonna have a girl because I had a son first. So I got like the little teapot set and like the little cups. So we could either go to the store and like buy a full on teacup set that you can play with. Her auntie's a crafty person, so I already knew that I wanted to create paper cups and have tea and all this stuff and create like the, because you're pretending anyway. So I had those. I created the 3D things from those files. I kept a subscription to the design store for a year. And it just allows you to kind of, depending on the credits and which level you choose, allows you to just kind of download a bunch of stuff. And that's a great way to learn. They have card files, 3D files. They have just regular SVGs like a bear, an owl. They have like paper dolls. They have, just like floral thingies, things that you can mix and match. So I used to get swirls, and I would take those swirls and I would put them on an invitation or cut them out. I cut out an Eiffel Tower, and then I cut the swirls out, and then I glued that to the Eiffel Tower. They have paper flowers. They have paper rosettes. So I focused on learning the machine and how it cut. I knew design, but if I had to do it all over again, if I did not know design, I still would do it that way, because for me at that time, the design wasn't the most important thing. I knew that I wanted it for a certain type of file. So I purchased those files or downloaded them through credits or whatever, or I went to like SVG cuts. There was one where it's like a Ferris wheel. Yeah, Ferris wheel. And it's like you cut 4 or 5 of like one. So like you put it together. So because you're not cutting chipboard, how you make it thicker is basically what's called matting. And you're going to cut a bunch of those pieces, and then you're going to use your glue and you're going to glue it together. So it was like 5 different cuts for the side. They'll tell you to use like a solid color and then do like a pattern paper on it, like on top, so that you're not wasting pattern paper, because that tends to be more expensive. And then you had to cut the paper for all of the little cars, the dowel rods, like, and you can literally move it. I'm not going to try and figure out how to make that whole thing myself. That probably took a lot of work. I got that file from SVG Cuts, and I sat there, and it was a whole lot of cardstock. But I sat there and cut out all that cardstock, and I put it together because I was just a craft. Like, to me, that's craft stuff. As an event planner, I could make that and I could technically like reuse it, but that was really just crafts. I did that for fun. I did that for my enjoyment, and that's how I really learned the cut settings. That's how I learned that this paper cuts one way, this paper cuts another way. This brand of vinyl is great at cutting. If you cut this one, you got to change your settings. So it was a lot of experimentation in the beginning for me before I turned it into a business. Hey, you didn't answer me. What do we get all these machines for? It's like you got every level for each one, because if you got the Joy, the Air, and the Maker for Cricut, that's pretty much all there is. Now all you're missing is the Venture. And then you have the Portrait, a Cameo, and a Pro. So you have the small one, you have a 12-inch, and you have a 24-inch. So you have like literally all of the different sizes. Yeah, see, I'm comfortable using my Cameo, my Portrait, and my Cameo 3. I've never used my Curio. I've had it for about 6 years, because that's actually just a complementary machine to the rest. Like, most people even know what the heck stippling is. If you're not a card maker, the embossing feature wasn't going to be very into you, and you couldn't do anything wide. Like, it was meant for like embossing cards, so it actually has a really small footprint. So that had to be the lane in the area that you were in for that Curio to really be beneficial to you. I really want to learn silhouette, though. Not sure where to get polyester shirts. So polyester shirts, they're everywhere. Whether you want the Cricut brand, like the brands that I use, you can find them at Jiffy. You can find them at All Day Shirts. You can find them at Bargain Shirts. You can find them at where's the place I got them from? You can go to, you can go to Alpha Broda. You can go to, I know S&S doesn't have them. These are not the brands that I use. There's a lot of different ones. It just depends on the price point. I find that a lot of people will say that they can't find shirts, but I think is that they're looking for these really inexpensive shirts that are like $1, $2, $3, when summation shirts and polyester shirts can cost a lot more. Because I'll give people suggestions that, oh, no, that, you don't know, like they were looking for something a little less expensive. So when they say they can't find any shirts, I'm new, like I was new to this whole thing. How I found one shirt to find another, I read tags. My son had shirts from, it was a Ray Allen shirt. I looked in the tag to see what that brand was, and that's how I found Ultra Club. And then from like going to Ultra Club, and so Ultra Club, I do like them. They are on the shiny side, but they're also made on the bigger side. Like they're made a size bigger. And I compared all of these. I went and I purchased every size of every brand of shirt that I wanted to try, because I needed to see how they were. I would lay them out and say like, dang, this is a large, but I would see the differences in one brand's large versus the other. I was committed to finding the right product for our business. I was committed to that. So I invested that money on the front end. Before I sold anything, I invested that money on the front end. I did not just go off of someone's suggestion. I know that a performance shirt, I'm reading labels. People always say they can't, like, I see a lot of people say they can't find shirts that are more than like 65%. As soon as I like went on there and like, again, I guess it's knowing the terminology. So like searching for certain performance shirts, looking at different brands and starting with one brand, and it sometimes will lead you to another, because it'll say if something is sold out, they'll make a suggestion for something else. Because Badger is another one that is a polyester, like polyester shirts. I also found brands because I was a cheer coach when I was on Epic Sports is other places you can get them from. It can get kind of pricey. If the number is low, the higher you get, the better the deal is. But I found certain brands from Epic Sports because I was looking stuff for my cheerleaders. It's just about doing the research and not giving up after like one failed search. Take a breather, go back in and search for some more. Until recently, I didn't know anything about polyester shirts. But yeah, most people really don't look into polyester shirts until they are getting into sublimation. You'll be surprised that a lot of the things that you wear is actually polyester, and it's done via sublimation. But until most people got a printer, they weren't really thinking about what the process is. And that is another thing too, as like when I'm teaching about business and I see a lot of people, they'll go and they're posting what the print method is. Oh, well, we have sublimation shirts, we have DTF. All you're doing is opening the door for your customers to ask a lot of questions. What you should be doing is, what are the qualities? What are the benefits of a shirt that's sublimated? What are the limitations? You should be speaking on that when you're talking about the different shirts and you're describing it to them. Because if you just say sublimation, before you got into sublimation, you didn't know anything about sublimation, and that was a process to decorate a shirt or to make garments or clothing or anything like that, even though you probably have quite a bit of sublimation items in your closet. If you have something that is predominantly like color on the front and you can like it's distinctively white on the back, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be polyester. Most of the cotton stuff, you can see the color like all the way through, because they're actually dyeing the full piece of fabric. Whereas sublimation, it's topical. They're not pressing the front and the back, and it's not going to really like seep through like that. So you can always somewhat tell when something is polyester versus when it is cotton, or maybe like a tri-blend and things like that. So it's just looking at tags, not being embarrassed to go into stores and look at the tags. Look at, like, some people didn't realize that George brand, and one, the athletic brand. Like if you just need a shirt, like real quick, you have, like, you can go into Walmart, their athletic brand, you have and one for socks. The No Boundaries is a high polyester count, but I only know these things is because I check tags. I'm not embarrassed about that. Like I will go in and I'm touching and rubbing on material. A lot of nightgowns are polyester. A lot of robes, polyester. Anything that's satin, that's polyester. I teach that in my sublimation seminar. Like I break down all of the polyester, like they don't necessarily say polyester, but they are, like satin is one, or all the synthetic fibers that you can actually press to, because it's so much more that you can press to than just polyester. Spandex, nylon, it's so many other things that you can press to. Tulle, felt. Any other questions? I love me some Zoe Saldana. As I tend to say, when my feet hit the floor, I'm off and running. Um, a lot of things interest me, and I've purchased, and I am purchasing to proceed full steam ahead. I have sewing and embroidery machine, sublimation paper, various size ink, detail. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. I hope you're also in this planning and you're hitting the floor. Hopefully, you are planning to actually get either to train or get someone, because that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of different, I don't want to say like niches, but that's a lot of stuff to kind of have all at one time. So just pace yourself. Um, do kind of like a block scheduling if you're wanting to learn them all at the same time. Like maybe Mondays, the days that you focus on like the sewing, and then like embroidery, and then like other stuff. But that's a lot of stuff. White toner, waters. Whoa. Wow, 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 wow. That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot. I know a whole lot about a whole lot, and I personally would never end up getting all that stuff. So what's my thought on white toner printers? They are actually amazing depending on what you're getting them for. Um, it depends on what you're getting them for. So I have a desire to have a white toner printer. I have no desire to use my white toner printer for anything related to apparel or garments. I do not plan to, whatever, if it comes with like the A and B paper or whatever, fine, so be it. But I personally have no desire. I won't be buying, or maybe I might keep some as a emergency stash, but I have no intention on using it for anything apparel wise. There are so many other things that it can be used for. I want to get back into my event space and invitations and menus and cards. And when you're doing colored cardstock, white toner transfers are great for that, because now you can actually print to colored cardstock. You cannot do that with others, because no matter what, ink is translucent and the colors from the printer, from the paper, are going to show through. So you need that white, that opaque white underbase, so that you can fully see the colors on colored cardstock or colored paper. You can get hard surface paper and be able to put designs on mugs, on glass, on wood, on acrylic. So I have an intentional purpose. Like, I have a specific reason why I want to add that to my arsenal of printers and services, but it's not to replace or make shirts or apparel more efficient. There are other methods that I can use for that. Just like with my Roland, a lot of people got it, and they do a lot of HTV transfers, do eco-solvent transfers. People wanted to convert the Epson printer to do eco-solvent transfers. Eco-solvent is not my first, it's not my go-to when it comes to apparel and doing custom designs. Now, if it's like a last minute type deal, yes, but it's not my go-to. I'm going to choose a different method when it comes to that. I wanted mine for banners, for decals, for posters, for my yard signs, window clean, things like that is what I personally got my Roland BN24. I got it so that we can make our own stickers for our boxes, for our poly mailers, and be able to put that on there. And I didn't have to go through Sticker Mule or sticker banners or whoever else makes stickers. So I was very intentional in the machines that I purchased. But I think white toners are great. They work for some people as being something for apparel. I personally just will not be purchasing one for that reason. There's so, I think people kind of lock into it. Now, if and you have to remember, this is the business, like, we're wanting to be set up as a print shop, right? Like, that was always my ultimate, like, that was my dream before I actually started teaching. Like, now it's a little bit different. Like, for me, it was either print shop side or just wanting to get back into event planning. And that's why certain things will work for me. If your main thing is apparel and it's doing shirts, And it is okay, guys. Stop letting people tell you that you have to add all these different things. There are companies where they don't touch, they're not doing shirts and tumblers. Stop letting people make you feel like, oh, you're going to make more money if you can bundle a shirt with a tumbler, with a keychain, with this and with that. If somebody wants a shirt and that's all they want, you wasting your time, you wasted money, and you got a bunch of stuff that you're not selling because the audience that you have cultivated, that you really market to, they're coming to you for shirts. So now you have all of this stuff, and you're like, then you become like the pushy salesman trying to push those things on them. There is nothing that says that you, in order to make money, you have to have all these different things. I end up including them because, like, once they actually became a need, I was doing stuff for free, like shirts. I didn't start off doing shirts. I ended up doing shirts as a way to save my parents money, my children, because I was a coach. I had 10 of the greatest 8-year-olds ever, and it was easy for me because I didn't have to worry about a team of 25 or 15 or 30 or whatever. It was me and my 10 girls. They were the Wonder Girls. My 10 babies, absolutely love them. And we looked good. You hear me? My babies look good. Practice time, we had specific shirts for certain days. On Fridays, everybody was uniform. If we went out to a fundraiser, all my babies had on the same shirt. So we didn't look like we were just out there just panhandle, just a panhandle. They looked good. They matched us. Our cheer balls was like on point. And I had a lot of cheerleaders who cheer can be very expensive, and having those things. So it was a way for us to do fundraisers by me making them myself. It saved them money. All my parents had to do was buy the supplies. That's how I initially got into shirts. And then when they saw my girls looking like, yes, when we had showcases, wait a minute, you got custom. Yes, honey, we got custom shirts. Well, who made those? Coach Kia. And then it just grew from there. And I actually started making shirts because I didn't even have my own heat press for the first year and a half, maybe, of doing shirts. I didn't even have my own heat press. Me and a friend shared a heat press, and it was like over here for quite a bit, because I ended up making shirts for her husband's team, and since I was going to be the one pressing them because she had to work and stuff, it stayed over here. And it wasn't until like I got like a big order where I actually got my share profit, my slide out clamshell. But I went almost a year and did not have a heat press. I did vinyl a lot. You can apply vinyl with a regular iron, just turn the steam off. So I did not jump into this saying, okay, well, let me get the best of the best heat press. Let me get this, let me get that. No, I used an iron. I borrowed someone's heat press. And when it got to a point to where I needed my own, that's when I invested the money in it. And it didn't feel like a waste because I was in the trenches with learning to do this. I was doing it, quote unquote, the hard way for a while. And then that became an upgrade. Most people nowadays don't want to do it the way I did it. I think someone even told me that on a live video. I ain't trying to wait 5 years. I don't know what to tell you. So, I mean, my journey was a little bit different. Like I said, I got what I got it when it was necessary. Hey, how are you? This is the lovely person that you all can thank her for me being in this sublimation community. I had no desire to be in this sublimation community whatsoever. I knew about it. I did videos on it. I was helping people configure, because a conversion is a conversion. It doesn't matter if it was pigment ink, like refillable cartridge with pigment ink or sublimation ink, the process was the same. So I was helping people with sublimation and had not even done sublimation, had no desire to get into sublimation. I was perfectly fine with buying my prints and simply pressing them. No desire to print them out myself. That lady right there pushed me into it after watching me for probably about like 2 years. And then, she's the one that really pushed me into it, and I kind of eased into it. Now, 3 years later, we're about to hit our 3-year anniversary for our product. But I've been in like sublimation as far as teaching it and doing stuff in-house for about 5 years. And we've had our product line, the absolute best sublimation ink and paper you can buy. For it, we're hitting 3 years. This month is our anniversary month. August 28th will be 3 years. She says, I knew she was going to be great. Thank you, my dear. So she's the reason why we have this today. Oh, Emily. A lot of stuff. I need you in my life. Ooh, child, we got to have an intervention. And I don't want you to feel like, you know, you're wasting money on stuff, but we don't really have to work on getting you to pace yourself. I cannot help you with anything within that Cricut space. I'm not your girl, but the Cricut machines that you have and the Cameo machines, they do the exact same thing for the most part. I mean, some of the tools are a little bit different, but for the most part, they are the exact same thing and how you will use them. So you can figure out from there, your file setup is going to be the same for both of them. It's too many steps, so I recommend just setting everything up in Silhouette Studio, saving it as an SVG or PNG, and then taking it over to Cricut Design Space to be able to use your Cricut. But yeah, you got a lot of stuff. We would have to have I need you to schedule a one-on-one session just so we can break down these machines, what's the benefits of each one, the pros and cons of each one, and how you can use it so that you can create a plan for how you plan to learn it. Because yeah, DTF, I've done a lot of DTF orders. I don't own a DTF printer. I have no desire at this current moment to own a DTF printer. It's just something else that you have to worry about maintaining. There's so many other things that I do right now that the maintenance that requires, trying to remember to print something even if I don't need it, so that you don't get clogged, and there's just additional maintenance things that have to be done. Even the ones that have a self maintenance cycle, you still have to do certain things to keep, especially that white ink, from clogging. I don't have time for that. And also the maintenance cycles, by leaving it on, and the ones that have the maintenance cycles, the more that you print, the less maintenance cycles it will go through. So if you're not using them and they're going through all of these maintenance cycles, you will basically be wasting ink. You're throwing money down the drain if you're not constantly using that particular machine. I'm not trying to waste money. So right now, it just doesn't make sense for me to have it because I'm only one person. Even with the help of if even was to do certain things, or the assistant that we have that works with us now, even if it's still a lot for just really one main person and then a few others to try and maintain all of these. Each one of these, you can't just leave them on a shelf. If you leave it too long, like you may have a period where you are doing a bunch of sewing, a bunch of embroidery, and you're never you have in it with the big jobs. I don't know if you have a single needle, a multi-needle, a multi-head, what you have as far as embroidery. If you end up with a big job and they're back to back for the sewing and the embroidery, and you don't go and touch your sublimation machine, your DTF machine for weeks, now you have to go, you can't just jump into it and just print. You now have to go through all of this maintenance and go and get it back going. So I don't recommend it. Like, 0 out of 10. I don't recommend. Like, it's a lot. So we really need to figure out what it is that you really want. I mean, I know that people desire to have a successful business, but again, I will keep saying it. Having all of those machines does not equate to a successful business. Especially if it's just you, you're going to burn yourself out. All right, well, I'm going to go. We're at an hour and 30 minutes in. I talk a lot, just my perspective on things, but this was meant to be a help session. And so I love doing this. It hurts my heart. Like LaShonda said, like, it's hard for me to not do it. It hurts my heart because I keep seeing the post that, oh, no one wants to help. No one wants to help. But the audience that I have aren't asking questions. Y'all aren't seeking help. And I'm not going to just volunteer up help just because I see someone in a group. Like I have my own platform. I need people to engage over here. So as hard as it is, I wanted to again test. It's later in the evening. I'm like, maybe when I'm live during the daytime, it's too early. People are at work. So this is me. Normally I don't go live when I'm here because I'm like, I don't have my computer. I don't have my webcam. I don't have my lights. I said, well, let me just go live from my phone and just kind of test it and see. But I don't see the questions. So I don't know. Maybe this is, my sign that, these Q&As are not needed. As it's more so a selfish thing. Like I want to do it, but it's not needed right now. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hop off. I'm probably going to hop on TikTok because dinner's being made. So until dinner is finished, I will probably hop on TikTok. But I thank you guys. Don't forget all the classes right now are buy one, get one 50% because it is HS Ink month. If you buy an HS Ink, or honestly speaking, summation paper, summation ink, or pigment ink, you can get a class. So it's buy one product, get a class 60% off because our product is the star of the show. That's what the anniversary is for honestly speaking products. So that's your first time hearing about that promotion. I'm glad that you're on now and you heard about it. But right now, buy a class, you get another class 50% off. And that's all of them. If you buy a product, you get 60% off. We had someone that purchased ink and they got $150 off of a $250 class. That is you're buying something that is nowhere near worth $150. You're going to go buy a pack of paper that's $33 and you get to save $150. No one else is giving you a deal like that. So you go buy the product because it is HS Ink month. You get 60% off of your choice of any class. So it's a 1-for-1 deal. If you buy 2 products, you get 2 classes for 60% off. But head on over to shop.hsink365.com. So again, that is shop.hsink365.com. All right. She says, do them for me. Well, you aren't asking questions. You don't even know what questions because you got way too much stuff going on. So maybe after you set up your one-on-one session and we go through and figure out, get your whole life. You need a whole intervention. I'm not even gonna lie. You need a whole intervention. Once we help you get your life together, and maybe then I can come back and you'll have certain questions because you've opened the boxes. You're utilizing them. But until then, these sessions are not gonna be totally beneficial because then you're not gonna come over and ask any questions. All right. I am teaching you through rants. It's not really teaching because you still aren't. So it was like other people's questions. But again, if they're not asking questions, everyone can learn from this content as long as there is engagement. If there is no engagement, there's nothing to learn. You don't have questions at the moment. Even if you were to open them up, I know about the majority of those. If you ran into issues, so all I need for you to do is open up one of those machines. And when you run into an issue, don't stress about it. Have you a little notebook and you write it down. You see me on live, you post that question, or you're going to post that question in just in the group. But you have to open up the machines. You got to learn the software. And then like for DTF and things like that, you're going to have to learn not just like a design software like Silhouette Studio. You're going to have to learn to navigate the RIP software, whether it's a converted printer or if it is a true DTF printer. You're still going to have to learn the RIP software. Then you're going to have a different one for the white toner printer. You're going to have to learn the software for your embroidery. If you want to make your own files, you're going to have to learn how to digitize. You're going to have to, I'm not sure which brand you have, whether or not you have Embrilliance, you have Chroma, you have, what's this other stitch one? I know about embroidery software. Oh my God, what's the name of, it's something stitch. I end up, I'm visualizing the logo, but I still can't think of the name. But it's like you have a lot of machines that require you to do a lot of learning of the machines, like how to maintain it, putting the oil on your needles, threading your needles, adjusting your tension, adjusting the speed, how many stitches per, like you have some things that require a lot of education, yeah. even before you open in brilliance. Yeah, okay. So before you even open the portrait, well, no, open it, because I need you to open up at least one of those boxes. Open up your portrait. Remember, that's only 9 inches wide, but Silhouette Studio, make sure you download that and you take a look at it. Get the 30-day training so that you can learn that, and then purchase some of the files from the Silhouette Studio design store. Okay. All right, y'all. Until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible. Peace.